Hello. So, as some of you may be aware, I went to the Battalion 1944 studio again, this being my second visit as they wanted my feedback on the game so far, especially for the movement side of things. It was a really good visit and I was able to play the game in its current state and of course discuss about many aspects of the game with them. So in this video I will be able to share some of that with you and try and let you know the direction that the game is going in. The footage on screen is obviously from 10 months ago, it's from the Kickstarter. But it's the only publicly available footage. Sadly, I don't have any new footage for you, only information. So do remember pretty much everything in this footage is now different and updated. As well as that, I quickly want to mention that there was a winter update that they put out a few weeks ago. I didn't make a video on this because I knew that I'd have more new information for you for this video. But a lot of the stuff that they mentioned in that, I'm going to touch on and update more on. So if you want to check that out now before this video or even after the video, the link is in the description. So firstly, probably the most important aspect, at least for me, as I mentioned in a previous video, and the main reason they asked me to go there, which was the movement. The movement is good, especially for this early stage. There are, of course, aspects of it that need to be touched up on. The animations we talked about today, but the movement right now is in a good place for this early stage. It feels almost identical to COD 4 Pro Mod. You can strafe, it's fast paced. Once it's all polished up, it should feel great. This kind of ties into the general mechanics of the game, such as the aiming down sights, jumping and so on. Again, it's like COD 4. You can sprint, strafe, aim down the sight mid-air with a Kar 98K and make some insane shots. It's basically what it's described to be, a mix of COD 2 with COD 4 movement. There is lean as well, which is the same as COD 2 or COD 4 or basically any COD game ever. The whole movement system in general is similar to that of a COD game. The way the animations and guns work is that you can make quick shots, reaction shots by aiming in and being able to cancel your animation very quickly. You can jump shot and so on. In terms of recoil, it's similar to that of COD 2. One thing that we touched on today and talked about was headshots on weapons, as it hasn't been fully decided yet. But the possible direction or likely direction is that guns such as rifles will of course one-shot in the main body and the head. Assault type weapons such as the MP44 and bar will, like in COD 2, kill with one bullet to the head. The thing that we discussed mostly today was about SMGs also having one bullet headshots. The theory is that it will roughly do 90 damage rather than one bullet. Of course you have one bullet headshots in COD 2 and COD 1, but the difference is that this game will have sprint, which makes the SMGs way more of a threat in close quarters, especially with their base speed also being faster. And in general, this could make it extremely difficult for other classes to deal with SMGs if they are both incredibly strong at close quarters due to the speed and fire speed, as well as being able to get random one bullet headshots or hip fire sprays across the map. But this is something that's still entirely in discussion and everything will need a lot of testing. That's of course what alphas and betas are for. The movement when aiming down sight will be like COD 4 for SMGs, well every weapon, but especially SMGs like the Thompson and the MP40, where you will be able to walk around the map aiming down the sight without making any sound with a relatively fast movement speed like Pro Mod, which is nice. So on the movement side of things and the way the guns shoot, the recoil and so on, everything is heading in the right direction. I was shown a couple of maps. Right now these include Omaha Beach, but the map is at the top of the beach rather than actually on the beach. There was a farm map. These maps don't actually have names yet, so we'll just call them farm map and city map. The design so far is pretty good on these maps. From what I saw, there are quite a few placeholders, but that's expected at this stage. But two of the maps had quite a lot of models in it and they looked very nice. Graphically the game is very good looking. You will of course be able to turn your graphics down for lower spec PCs and competitive players like myself. I can't really say at this point how well these maps will play competitively. We have to of course playtest them in the 5-on-5 game to see how they play. This will be done before the beta, so if anything needs changing and altering, it will be done. At least right now, from what I could see, they've been designed so that the timing and positioning is in mind. For the bomb plants, you are able to plant around the area of the bomb, like in CS, rather than directly on the bomb like in COD 4. So this allows for players to have a lot more positioning for after plant situations. The bomb will be very similar to that of COD 4 and CS rather than COD 2, in that the bomb will be a physical object that players have to carry to the site. Only one player can carry this at a time obviously, and the bomb will be possible to drop. Unlike in COD 1 and COD 2 where every player could plant the bomb, I think this is the better route to take as it invokes more team play and tactical thinking. You will of course have tac nades, smokes, flashes, it's all going to be there. They will always be updating these maps and adding more maps in the future, and when the game comes out there will be community made maps. Right now the maps are something that really is still in development, it's probably like the main focus. So I can say more on it on my next visit in a month or two after I've played them properly, and I can let you know more on that subject. In terms of game modes, it will have your expected basics such as search and destroy, which will of course be the main competitive mode, TDM, DM I imagine, and capture the flag. Something I asked about was having a competitive and casual pool of maps similar to that of Counter-Strike, rather than having every map forced on you even if they're bad like in Overwatch. And I believe it will be similar to that of Counter-Strike where you will have many maps. You'll get a lot of community made maps in the future, and some of these maps might not even be great for search and destroy but good for TDM for example, so you can have like a distinct difference between the the casual and the competitive maps. But there should be a pool for this. In terms of miscellaneous things, I probably mentioned this stuff already. There is of course a console. You can change your field of view, your FPS, your sensitivity to decimal places. These can be done in the options as well. Aiming down sight, from what I saw, changes your field of view as well, or in simpler terms it zooms in your screen closer. But I'm sure it can be added where it doesn't change the field of view and simply brings your gun up at a later stage if desired. For an example of this, look at Battlefield 1 where you're able to change this option so you can choose between the type of aim down sights that you want. You can weapon switch like in COD games to make yourself look cool like I do when I play. And of course the benefit to this is that you can reload switch to reload faster. There is bullet penetration, so you are able to wallbang as expected. I assume this will be pretty much similar to COD 4's values with materials such as wood and tin and plaster walls. Vehicles in the game, such as cars, will not explode. They said they might have breakable windows, but also that they could already be smashed. They haven't decided yet. I guess it's also possible that the cars could already be damaged or have been exploded in the map design. That is something that will be looked at and developed as the game goes on. The melee system will follow COD 4 in that it will use a knife rather than the bashing of weapons. This will strictly be like Pro Mod's knife animation for anyone who watches this and you're not familiar with COD 4 Pro Mod and are only used to the general COD knife animation. It basically means that the knife animation will not lunge at your opponent at like ridiculous ranges. You simply have to swipe the knife and you have to aim and be in close range. It will always be a one-hit stab of course, and the intentions on this is also that on the full release day they will make use of their loot box, weapon crates or supply drop system to drop knife skins. These will of course only be cosmetic and will not alter the damage of the knife or how it works in any way, and these will include some cool stuff such as gold brass knuckle knives, German Adler, eagle knives and so on. In terms of sensitivity, this isn't a huge thing for me at least, but something that I mentioned as a possibility, and it's something that could be added in the alpha at some point. If you're familiar with Overwatch, you are able to change your sensitivity per class. So playing somebody fast paced such as Tracer, you could have a higher sensitivity, while playing Widowmaker for example and wanting a slower, more accurate sensitivity. Essentially the same thing could be implemented into Battalion at some point, where if you wanted a slower sensitivity with the sniper and a faster sensitivity with the SMG, rather than having an overall universal sensitivity. It's not something that I would use, but I thought it was worth a mention as it can only help to have as many customizable options as possible for players. In terms of alphas and betas, the planned alpha is of course in May. You can play this if you have bought into this through the Kickstarter or on their website now. With this alpha, you will not be allowed to post content or stream the game. This will only be possible from the beta onwards, which will begin somewhere between July and August. I believe I will be allowed to post some content on the game earlier than that, but I'll keep you updated with that on the next video. I think that covers at least most things. I mean, I mentioned the direction of the game in my previous video, and I wasn't able to play the game then, but now I have played it, so I'm able to confirm these things. I don't have any real information on the in-game HUD or UI. This is something that I imagine I'll have more on by the next video, probably next month, some point, late February or early March. I did mention in my last video about the main menu and how it's similar to that of CSGO in terms of layout. It looks really good and it looked very high quality. But if you're new to this channel and you just found this video, you probably would have missed that. Feel free to ask questions in the comments and I'll answer them the best I can. Maybe I've missed something and one of your comments will bring it up and I will be able to tell you in the comments. I know the guys at Bulkhead will watch this video and also be interested in what you have to say. Also, if you are new to the channel and are looking for Battalion content in the future, I am your man. I shall keep you posted with the game's development, but for now, goodbye. I also believe that they're having a matchmaking system with ranks similar to that of CSGO. But not only having like a solo rank, there will also be team pages similar to that of League of Legends, or as they put it themselves, like clan base.